This is another term that I'm being sworn in for. I'm just as excited as I was the first time that I was ever sworn into elective office. This is when we stand before the citizens of Atlanta and take our oaths, basically saying that we're going to keep the covenant that they have placed in us via their vote to govern the city to the best of our ability. We're very excited about the new members of the Atlanta City Council. We've got a couple of returning members also who have served previously. And of course, whatever advice and counsel that we can provide to the new members, if they so desire to need it and want it, we're more than happy to provide it and to bring them under our wing and to show them the ropes, back there on the hall down at the City Council. I'm very, very excited about this group of folks. Each brings their own unique impressions to the City Council and their legacy of service. So it's going to be great to be shoulder to shoulder with them, working on the issues and on behalf of our citizens.
The voters in District 10 have allowed me another term, and I am so excited. We will continue to work hard in the community. We will continue to work with Keep Atlanta Beautiful, Public Works, and all of the departments that help make Adamsville work.
Atlanta is sending to City Hall a younger, more progressive group of folks with a lot of energy and urgency. The city's facing some real challenges right now, and I am incredibly excited about the new folks that we're welcoming on council. I'm excited to be coming back with my colleagues from last term, and I'm pumped about the future. It feels like this council is going to continue moving in the direction of operating more and more as a team. And looking at the challenges that we face as a city as a collective of 15. And I'm excited about that. The issues we have to solve have to be done with that mindset in place. And so I'm pumped about people bringing their different perspectives from the districts they represent, but tackling challenges head on as a body. And I think we're going to make some really good progress over the next year.
to go ahead and get started on the first briefing for the first Finance Executive Committee meeting of 2022. Just by means of quick introduction, I'm Alex Wan. I have the privilege of chairing Finance Executive this year. As y'all know, as y'all heard, because you're here, you realize I am bringing back briefings. I feel like it'll be a good practice for us as we get up the learning curve for 2022. Wanted to make a couple of comments about that before we get started. The purpose of the briefings is really just for the staff, council, and the departments to run through the agenda and provide clarification on kind of status of each piece of legislation. That way we'll know going into the meeting which pieces may be substituted, which ones are intended to be held, and which ones will be ready to be acted upon. I think my motto this year is, while council doesn't like to be surprised on meeting floors, we also don't want to have to be surprising the departments either. And this briefing is a chance for us to just set the stage for our Wednesday meetings. I want to be very clear, we're not deliberating on any of the legislation. We'll save that for Wednesdays at 1:30. But this will be an opportunity for council members, if there are additional pieces of information that you would like to have in order to be able to be ready to vote. For example, more data, any additional background or context for the legislation. This is the chance to go ahead and put that out there, to give the departments a couple of days to come back, and that way we're all ready to go on Wednesdays. And these briefings are intended to be quick. We're sandwiched in to a time slot between two committee meetings, so I want to be mindful of that. But hopefully with the intent that I've laid out, we should be able to run through this fairly quickly. I do also want to remind everybody that we are in an open meeting, that all the open meeting rules still apply. Since we won't be taking any action in these meetings, hopefully that will make that piece simple. But just remember that this is being broadcast and shared with the public. While they will not be provided an opportunity to provide public comment during a briefing, we just want to be mindful of that. Couple of other just quick announcements, and then we are going to start running through the agenda. In general, I tend to not, again, going back to that notion of not wanting to be surprised and having to make decisions on the fly. I'm generally not receptive to walk-ins the day of council or the day of the committee meeting or the week of, unless there's a really compelling reason. And I would ask that if there is a need for that, which we actually have one today for this cycle, that you let the legislative staff and me know ahead of time. And then also, I understand one of the new things since I was previously on council, the Inspector General has advised council that if there are required documents that have to go with legislation, for example, sole source procurement justifications, that we have to have those at least 24 hours before the meeting. So I kind of just want to make sure we set the stage for that as well, that if there are associated required documents, that you get that to legislative staff 24 hours before our meeting starts, so that she can get that out to, or that the team can get that out to us. And then two final items of housekeeping. Colleagues, I did send an email out to y'all, but I don't know if the department knows. For this Wednesday's meeting, the state legislature, the Atlanta delegation, is convening a meeting at 2:00 to discuss the Buckhead City legislation, proposed Buckhead City. Because of its importance to Atlanta as well as to our committee, I'm going to make every opportunity to allow our members to participate, and the ones that would like to. So we will convene at 1:30. We will run through 30 minutes of our business. We'll see how much we can get done. We will recess for 1 hour from 2:00 to 3:00 so members can participate. And then we'll reconvene at 3 to finish out the business of the committee. Similar to that, 2 weeks from this Wednesday is the annual Buckhead Coalition Luncheon. That starts at noon on the 26th. So we will actually delay the beginning time of our meeting to, I believe, 3 o'clock that afternoon. But The legislative team will confirm that with everybody, but just wanted to give everybody as much advance notice about that delay start. Ms. Kempson-Wright, before I start going through the agenda, was there any other kind of just general comments that we needed to make to set the stage for this briefing?
No, Mr. Chair, I believe you covered everything.
Okay. All right. Well, before we jump into that, looking forward to working with everybody again and doing the good work of the people in this committee. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the agenda. Obviously, we'll have the call to order. We'll introduce the members, and then Ms. Kempson-Wright will read the remote meeting statement that authorizes or states the reason why we're doing this virtually versus in person. We will adopt the agenda, and I've been told by law that it's very important for us to record who makes the motion as well as seconds that before we vote. So please help me remember that. Approval of the minutes, those will be circulated on Tuesday by the legislative staff. Okay, next item would be the election of the 2022 FEC Committee Vice Chair. If you are, I've had some conversations with folks. If you are interested, please let me know. But we will be voting on that position on Wednesday. It's much like the first runner-up in Miss America. If Miss America is unable to fulfill her duties, first runner-up. Well, no, I'm just kidding. All right. Item G, 2022 FEC Committee Goals and Objectives. So Ms. Kempson-Wright is going to circulate the 2021 committee goals and objectives for reference. We will essentially open that up on Wednesday and not decide on that, but that'll give us a couple of weeks. So we'll need to set those and adopt those at the January 26th meeting. So committee members, please be thinking about the specific things that you would like to see this committee either address or tackle or achieve in 2022. If history holds, there'll be probably a pretty distinct pattern and groupings and buckets of issues. So as we get those in, we'll try and structure it that way. And again, you'll be able to see the reference documents that Ms. Kempson-Wright is going to circulate later. And then finally, public comment. As you may have seen from the zoning committee meeting or previous committee meetings, these are recorded from the night before, Tuesday evening from 4 to 7, and they'll be played during our meeting on Wednesday. All right, with that, Ms. Kempson-Wright, I'm actually going to turn this over to you to walk us through and update everybody. And colleagues, as she runs through each one, maybe not necessarily for first reads, but for second reads, if there's a specific piece of information that you'd like, just please chime in and make that known. All right, Ms. Kempson-Wright, I'll turn it over to you, please.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Again, I think I greeted you with good morning. We do have 7 first reads, which currently, of course, will only be read in for the record. There will be no discussion or action taken on them. Item number 8 is the acceptance of a donation of professional services performed by Ernst & Young. This is supporting the mayoral transition. Is there anyone from the administration that's been identified to speak to this item?
Okay. Colleagues, does anyone need any additional information on Wednesday to be able to act on this? All right, Ms. Kempson-Wright, let's move on to the next item then.
Okay, item number 9 is 22-0-1022. This item will actually be held. It is requesting that the Code of Ordinances be updated to allocate for permanent part-time health insurance for 2 employees for city council elected officials. This requires a report to Finance Executive Committee from the Department of Human Resources along with the Department of Finance at the next scheduled meeting, which will be Wednesday, January 26th. So we will hold this item for that purpose. Moving on to resolutions, item number 10 is 22R3038, and this is the second renewal for Microsoft Corporation support services, $595,000. This is an AIM item, and I believe Mr. Sankey, CIO Sankey, will be speaking to this.
I do have a quick question on this one. I don't have the full legislation in front of me, but when it is presented on Wednesday, just a clarification if this was a direct procurement or if it was through a cooperative purchasing agreement. Just have that information for this if you can on Wednesday. And then also if there is any kind of user feedback from our side from the first year of using their services.
We will have that information. And just a clarification, Chief Technology Officer Brittany Carter will be speaking to this on Wednesday.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay. 1 second, everyone. Okay, close. Okay, item number 11 is 22R3039. It is executing a sole source agreement with Environmental Systems Research Institute. This is for our GIS system. It's $2.6 million. It does require an iPro report, which we have not received yet. At this time, the recommendation would be to hold. That has been received.
Good afternoon. This is Michael Jones, the IPRO manager with the Office of the Inspector General. That report will be provided today. Okay. Just for clarification, with our IPRO reports, it's generally not 24 hours before the meeting. We try to get the report out before the agenda is published so that there isn't a need to amend the agenda.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Item number 12 is 22R3040. This is authorizing a renewal with Bridgeway Network Solutions on behalf of the Department of Finance Office of Revenue and an amount not to exceed $120,000 for payment services.
Yep, we're ready to speak to that on Wednesday.
Okay. Item number 13 is 22R3041. This is issuing a task order to Deloitte Consulting under the cooperative purchasing agreement listed for revenue forecast update and fiscal year 2023 plan support services and an amount not to exceed $160,000.
Thank you, Santana, and Finance will be ready to speak to that as well.
Okay, thank you. No questions? Number 14 is 22R3042. 1 second. What is this? Oh, it's renewal number 1 with Fraston Associates to provide financial advisor services. This is for the Department of Aviation's individual bond transactions.
Yes, thank you again, Santana, and Finance will be ready to speak to that as well.
Okay. Item number 15 is 22R3043. This is amendment number 1 for one of the citywide contracts. This is for on-call painting services with A&D, adding $75,000 to the Department of Parks and Recreation as an authorized user.
Hi, Santana. This is Doug Voss. I'll be happy to speak to that if it comes up. Hi, Councilmember Juan.
Hey, Mr. Voss. Good to see you.
Good to talk to you, too.
Thank you. Item number 16 is 22R3044. This is another citywide. This is authorizing amendment number 3 for Locks Hardware and Locksmith Services with DH Pace. This will add $35,000 for the Department of Watershed Management.
Any questions from my colleagues? We'll Watershed be presenting this, or is this going to become DEAM?
It might be on the team, so we're ready to speak on it if need be.
Thank you.
Item number 17 is 22R3045. It is authorizing a boundary line agreement. This is to establish accurate location and common boundary lines between the properties listed. Yeah.
This will be on the team as well. We'll be ready to speak on this one as well.
Yeah, this is Alex. I've never seen one of these before, so to the extent that you can provide kind of background and history information on what brought this up and kind of the resolution, not the resolution paper, but kind of the resolution of the matter where the city lands in terms of, between the two property owners. So, I'll have a number of questions on this.
There seems to be some type of discrepancy.
Yeah.
For the common boundary line between that and the property owner. So by that, we're going to provide the proper services to establish that boundary line and provide the accurate information.
Okay. Thank you.
Item number 18 is 22R3046. It is authorizing amendment number 7 for our citywide electrical repair and maintenance contract. We are adding $50,000 for the Department of Transportation.
Yeah, we may speak to that one as well under Dean.
Okay. Item number 19 is 22R3047. This is a task order with one of the citywide small contracting services agreements for upgrades to Fire Station 14's kitchen, upgrades and renovations.
Yep. We'll speak to that as well.
Okay. Thank you. And item number 20 is a sole source agreement for the municipal courts utility project. This is moving the current overhead feed to an underground grid system. It is $3.7 million. It does require an independent procurement review report, and unless we've received it, we would need to hold.
This solicitation is still under review, so we need to hold it. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ms. Kempson Wright, I understand that we, despite my first comment, we do have a piece of walk-in legislation that will be coming before us on Wednesday. Can you share that with my colleagues, please?
Yes, the walk-in legislation is for the Department of Watershed Management customer refunds for overpayments or any billing mishaps. And that item will be circulated to all members this afternoon.
Yeah, colleagues, just, we typically have a standing shell paper in our held papers for this, and then Watershed periodically comes with the official amounts from the previous quarter or the previous time period. Because we're straddled the two administrations and the two terms, it's pretty rote, but it will be coming in, and I'm going to let that one in this time for that reason. Any questions on that? Any other questions on the agenda itself? Okay, one final thing that if there's no issues on the agenda, the other thing that will be circulated either between now or sometime on Wednesday is the presentation schedule for 2022, so that you have an idea of the cadence of when various departments and organizations will be coming before us to present information. I would also welcome if there are certain topics that, particularly for the new council members, if there are certain issues that we would like to be rebriefed on or updated or do a deeper learning session on, please let me or Ms. Kempson Wright know so that we can go ahead and get that in line, scheduled. One of the things that we were talking about already is more information about our budget, the budget process, and just an understanding of kind of the income and expense side, the enterprise funds, as well as some of the trust funds and other funding sources that we have. So, Mr. Ball, I see you nodding. We'll be leaning on you and your department to help us create that. But I think it'd be really helpful to do that early. That way, when the budget season starts in April, everybody will be ready to go. But please be thinking about that. If there are other presentations or sessions that would be helpful, we want to go ahead and front load those as much as possible. And that way, when everything starts moving, we'll be ready. My colleagues, anybody have any questions or comments or thoughts for your first briefing and going into the first committee meeting? And I have Ms. Bakhtiari, Councilmember Bakhtiari in my office. She's thinking hard. Smoke's coming out of her ears.
Chairman, we just wanted to thank you for instituting the briefings. I think this will be helpful and be great going forward. So I appreciate you doing that.
Yep, absolutely. All right, anybody else? Okay, good. This will go on record as probably our shortest briefing of the year, so we'll enjoy it while we can, and you'll have a little bit more time in your day. But we'll see everybody at 1:30 on Wednesday. As a quick reminder, one last time, that we will convene for 30 minutes, adjourn for an hour, and then come back. So very good. Well, looking forward to working with everybody on this committee, and we'll see y'all on Wednesday.
Thank you, Wednesday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.